I'm Miss Haley with the Huntsville-Madison County Public Library, and for today's STEM activity, I'm going to show you how to do a simple chromatography project. Chromatography is the separation of different parts of a mixture. So a mixture is a combination of at least two things, and chromatography can be used to separate those into their pure compounds. Sometimes I know I've seen this done with salt. In this case, we're doing it with dyes. We're going to be doing it with different inks that have been mixed together to get different colors. And we're also going to be relying on capillary action of the paper to pull water up through the paper, through the ink marks, and disperse the dyes separately. So those are the two scientific principles at work today: chromatography and capillary action, also absorption. And I'm going to show you how this works. So you are going to need, we're also going to turn this into, since it's kind of close to St. Patty's Day, into a shamrock. So if you want to do the craft part of this, you'll need a pipe cleaner. I've chosen green, of course. You need 4 coffee filters. These are the basket size type coffee filter. You don't want cones. You do want basket size, and you do want white. It'll work with unbleached ones, but white is just a little bit better. Then you need 4 craft sticks or popsicle sticks. If you're using actual popsicle sticks, do make sure they are clean, but craft sticks. And then you need 4 paper clips or binder clips. I don't have binder clips, so I have these really big paper clips that we're going to be using to hold our coffee filters onto those craft sticks. Then you need 4 cups of water. They just need to be part full, just enough that the tip of the paper, when it's folded, will be able to reach down there. We're going to fold it into like a pizza slice. So we want that to be able to reach down in there. And you want the cup to be wide enough that the popsicle stick can still sit on top of it like that. You don't want it to be so wide that that can't work. You need 4 cups of water. So I'm going to set those kind of far away where I can't knock them over. And then lastly, you need 4 markers. So you can do different colors. I'm doing different shades of green. I actually have 4 different markers that are green, but you can do any colors you want. I'm using green because it's a shamrock. You could do all one color too. You don't have to use 4 different ones, but I thought it would be neat to test which ones work better for this, or if they work at all. I discovered, I've done this project before and I used Sharpies, and Sharpies do not work very well. Sometimes the really, really dark Sharpie colors will bleed, but otherwise they don't really work very well for this. So don't use a Sharpie, but I've got some just washable markers. I've got 2 different colors of that. I've got a regular green and then a dark green. And then I have some dry erase markers. I have sort of the regular green, and then I have this sort of light neon green as well. So we'll be using those, and we'll be doing a different color on each of our 4 coffee filters, and we'll be keeping track of that as well. So I'm going to put these kind of where we can still see them a little bit. I want to be able to see them as we work. I want to be able to see our progress. So to start with, there's a bit of green fluff there. We're going to start with this light green Expo marker. And I'm going to not put anything right in the center. So I'm going to do just a squiggly line. We're just going to do different designs. We don't need to go too thick, but we don't want too little either. So, and then I'm going to put some triangles. So color whatever design you want. It's not going to stay that way, hopefully. If these bleed and our dyes start to separate, our design will come apart a little bit. And that's actually what we want to happen. So don't get too attached to your design or anything. And do not color the whole thing. You need a lot of white space for this to work. So that's my first design. And I'm going to fold this in half like that. And I'm going to fold it in half again. And then I'm going to fold it in half one more time. So that's 3 folds, and we have this sort of pizza wedge. Then I'm going to fold back the top edge just a little bit, just like that. I'm going to really crease it because I want that to sit kind of like that. So then I'm going to take a popsicle stick. I'm going to put it on the back side of that fold like that. I'm going to paper clip it to it. Just like that. Not super tight on the paper clip. You can see the little pointy parts are sticking off. That's because this is going to get really wet. And I want to be able to remove it easily. Because when we're done with this, we've got to let it dry. So I'm going to set that into my cup of water. Like that. And it's going to start soaking it up through capillary action. And oh wow, I can already see these colors bleeding a little bit. So we'll see, hopefully, what colors that make up that dye. Maybe it's all green. I expect there to be at least a little yellow, maybe some blue. Alright, so I'm going to put that marker next to its cup so that I'll be able to tell which one is which. I'm going to move on to the next one. So I'm going to flatten out my coffee filter, and I'm going to do another design. This time I think I'm going to just do some lines radiating from the center again, not putting anything in the center. This is a much darker color. I'm just doing really simple designs because again, we're not expecting these to stay around. So alright, so that is this one. Again, I'm going to fold it up like so. Once more. And at least one more time. So we have our wedge. Fold down the top a little bit. That might affect those marks that I made up top, but that's okay. We just really want it to bleed in the center. Put my popsicle stick there and paper clip it to my popsicle stick. And we're going to put that in my water. So it's super simple, super fast. And again, I'm going to put that marker next to my cup so I'll know which one that is. Moving on. That one is not bleeding as immediately. I know it's off camera. You guys can't quite see it. I'll show you guys all at once at the end. But that one's not really bleeding yet. We'll see how it does. Maybe it needs some time. So now I'm going to do my dark green. This is my dark green washable marker. I'm hoping this one will bleed since it's washable. That means water should affect it more. So I'm hoping we'll get a lot of bleeding with this one. So we're going to do, I think, just a circle. And then maybe some polka dots on the outside. Nothing too crazy. Maybe one in between. Like I said, you want a lot of white space. You want space for this color to bleed so that you can really see if there are different colors making it up. So far, I'm not noticing different colors in these other two, though. Supposedly, black markers, if you use a black washable marker, supposedly those do really good. Something to consider. Alright, so I'm all folded. I'm going to fold over my top and attach it to my popsicle stick. And then I just have one more. So as we do this, you might have to wait a little bit for this to whoa, that's really bleeding. You might have to wait a little bit. I'm going to pull that into the view a little bit. You can see it's really bleeding already. Almost immediately that one bled. And I'm definitely seeing different colors. So washable markers are for sure the way to go. Oh, and I'm going to put my marker so I'll know which one. But you might have to wait a little bit for it to bleed all the way up. It can take some time for the water to travel to the tip of the to the edge of the paper. So we're going to do one more. I'm going to go a circle, and this one I'm going to do kind of a thicker squiggly line. See if we can get this one to bleed a lot, or maybe that thick line will keep it from bleeding. I don't know. we'll find out. That's why it's an experiment. So if you guys really want to try this with, I would definitely use washable markers, I think, just from what I'm seeing from the expo. They're bleeding a little bit, but I'm not seeing a lot of color separation. So use some washable markers to do this one. And you can use different colors than green. I'm using green because I'm making a shamrock, but you can use any colors you want. And use black. Maybe you'll get some really fun ones. We're definitely getting some interesting colors, though, out of our green ones already, I can tell. I'm going to attach that to my paper clip. And I'm going to put it in my water. We're going to let that go. And it's already bleeding really, really well. So, I'm going to put my marker right there. And we are going to let this sit for a little bit while it works. And we'll be back in a minute to check on them, and I will show you the next steps. The next step, I will probably dry them off camera. So the next step, once they're done, once they've reached all the way to the top, you are going to unfold them and you're going to lay them somewhere flat where they can dry. Somewhere where it doesn't matter, and you don't want it to be on a counter or anything where the ink can bleed onto the counter. So make sure you set down some paper towels, or you set it on like a cookie tray or something that you can wash later. But you're going to lay them flat and let them dry. Okay, so my coffee filters have dried, and to do that I just laid them flat on paper to let them dry. This is one of the ones with the Expo markers, and here's the other. So as you can see, they did not run at all. So there was no bleed through whatsoever. So the Expo markers definitely did not work for this experiment. If you want to see the colors in the inks, Expo markers and Sharpies are not the way to go. But that's okay. We'll still use these. So these are the two, much better, right? These are the two that I used washable markers with. So this one was this one, and this guy was this one. So there's two things that I think are happening here. One, this is a darker color, and that means to get this dark green that has a little bit more blue tint to it, they probably had to add more blue dye to it. So I think that's why we have more of a result here than here. If you look at this one, on the very edge right here, you can see some blue coming through. So green, and maybe a little bit right here. Green is, of course, yellow and blue mixed together. And we get some blue tint coming out here, but mostly it's still pretty green. And this one, we have a mix. So we have a lot of the blue. We even have some yellow coming through. And then we still have some green parts. Mostly between the blue and the yellow. So that's probably just where the dyes are mixing together still. Or remixing as they're pulled through the paper. So I do have a theory, though, as to why one works better than the other. One, I think, is because this one is darker. But the other, I think, is because this is a name brand. And this is like your cheaper brand. So cheap washable markers, I think, are probably the way to go if you really want to see fun colors coming out. But now we're going to turn these into our 4-leaf clover. So I think I'm going to use these on the top and bottom and these on the sides. So to make our leaves, what you're going to do is you're going to fold over just a part, and then fold over a part so that you make a point that's rounded on top. And then you're going to take this point and you're going to squish it together like that, so that now we have a rounded edge and we have this little kind of scrunchy thing, and it's twisted together. So we're going to do that for all of them. And these are going to make our leaves of our shamrocks, or shamrock, it's only one, of our 4-leaf clover. So I'm just scrunching it together and then twisting the end. The coffee filters really like to stay twisted, so they hold that shape really well. So same thing with this one. We're going to fold, fold, scrunch, and twist. And I don't think it matters which way you twist, really. I'm just twisting away from myself, but I don't think that makes any difference. So then fold, fold, scrunch, and twist. You get better at it the more of these that you make. So I'm going to just fan out the leaf part, and I'm going to gather them all together like that. So they're like that. And I'm going to take my pipe cleaner and I'm going to put about 1/3 of it through 2 of them. And I'm going to pinch right at the center, pinching that pipe cleaner together. And then I'm flipping it over. Whoops. Flipping it over, and I'm just going to twist these 2 together. Just like you would a twist tie, anything else. That's going to make our stem. And once it's twisted together, you should have 4-leaf clover. It's pretty big, so it's hard to see them all the way on my camera, but there we have a 4-leaf clover. Thank you guys. I hope you have fun with this STEM project. Please make comments if you get different results. I'd love to hear like sort of what different results we get with different markers and different colors. I think that'd be really cool. And I hope you enjoyed this activity. Thank you.